All right. Hello and welcome back, everybody. We have been off the air for 2 weeks. It feels like forever since we were on the air, but we're back this week and we're going to try to give away some money. This week, we got $500 up for grabs. Hopefully, you've been seeing some of the promotions and you got your text message today to log on and that kind of thing. Just a couple of quick announcements before we get started with today's guest. I wanted to remind you that the early bird for the fall conference, I guess the early bird just expired, I think, on July 7th. But here's the QR code for the fall conference coming up. I know the room block's getting full. I was just down at Disneyland this week and hanging out around downtown Disney and in the parks, and there's just nothing like it. So hope you get a chance to come and join us. We're going to do an evening in the park on Saturday night. Discounted tickets. You won't be able to get tickets this reasonable to go into the park. We should be done around 2 o'clock, and from 2 to midnight, you can go into the park for less than $100, which I will guarantee you there's nothing cheaper than that you're going to find at Disneyland. But it's just indescribable. I had a chance to hang out with my daughter Abby there and go on all the rides. So if anybody's looking to hang out with me in the park at the fall conference, let me know. Incredicoasters got my name on it again, and Abby and I have this big idea to go down Grizzly Mountain waterfalls when it's dark. We're going to put our bathing suits on and get super soaked, because I certainly got super soaked over the week, and it was a lot of fun. So make sure you're putting that on your calendar. But I wanted to also just mention that we've got a number of district events coming up between now and then. So make sure you're checking your TWA. You should be getting your TWA in your inbox. Make sure you're optimizing your inbox so that things are getting prioritized to your inbox. And then, as always, we'll make sure that you are aware of all the things going on in the districts and things of that nature. So I wanted to add today's guest here shortly. This is Jordan Blancarte. Jordan, let me bring Jordan up here real quick. There he is. All right. How you doing, Jordan? I can't hear you. You got to take yourself off mute.
Yeah, always something has to go wrong. At least we did at the beginning.
There you go. There you go. Jordan is working, or you're basically the founder, right, of Orso?
So I would join the company at the beginning, and I would join as a scientific officer.
Okay. Good. And Orso is a company that I've been working with pretty exclusively in my office now for the better part of a year. They have a salesperson that was just so persistent named Charlie. I'm sure a lot of people will be hearing from Charlie after this. Charlie's trying to get on the stream instead of listening to it on YouTube like everybody else does. Charlie got the special link. So Charlie, stop trying to add yourself to the stream. We're not going to add you to the stream. So take yourself off of that special link that I gave you, and then go over to the YouTube channel like everybody else. That's the persistence of Charlie, though. He'll wear you down and maybe sometimes wear you out. But Orso's got an incredible product that I wanted to share with you guys, because I think that I just haven't seen anything like it. I've used it myself and have gotten great results with it. I guess I'll learn more, because it must be the intensity of the product that you use. And I always tell people all the time, you got to find out the people, where they're making it, how they're making it, all of those kind of things, because it's such an unregulated industry, the CBD industry. And so I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit more, and then you can kind of start diving into your content and your presentation. And I'll stop you if I have any questions. Okay.
That sounds great. I really appreciate it, Dr. Dieter. Thank you for putting on events like this.
Yeah.
I think it's great to get everyone together and learn from each other a little bit more. So my name is Jordan Blancarte. I joined the company back in 2019 as the scientific officer. I helped design the extraction laboratory where we actually produce all of our CBD oil, and I also am the formulator behind the product. So like Dr. Dieter mentioned, in the CBD industry, there's a lot of stigmas, there's a lot of unregulation, and something we wanted to do was to create a product that we could really stand by in terms of the quality, and a product that really works, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to have a natural alternative for patients who are suffering from chronic pain, and we wanted to provide chiropractors something that they can use in their practice to help their patients kind of break that cycle.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your growing process and things like that. I think that that's an important piece of the puzzle, and I think you guys have a unique approach to it, which people should know about.
So we've been in the industry since the beginning. So 2019 was our first growth cycle. We're certified organic. We're located about 30 miles as the crow flies from the Monterey Bay, which is a great climate to grow in. We're CCOF certified organic. We control the land. We've been, landowners there for generations. Very stringent rules on, on testing, testing our water, testing our soil, not using any pesticides, growing it the right way, growing it for a purpose, and extracting it with that same purpose and intensity, and taking that into our product formulation is kind of key to kind of differentiating ourselves from what can be a very busy industry and really kind of setting quality as the standard for ourselves.
I don't know if Charlie told you this, but your manufacturing plant over there off of Highway 25 was my cousin's had Yasugi Farms growing up. So
yes,
it's the old Yasugi Farms packing plant.
It is. Yeah, we were lucky to take it over from the ILOs, and it's been a great facility for us to have. Yeah.
My mom's an ILO, so and Joe's my second cousin, so, and Pete's my second cousin, I guess. But also the real estate broker who got you into that place, Dion, was my college roommate from Cal Poly. So we got a lot of ties, Jordan. We got a lot of ties, and so tell us then about your formulation a little bit and what's unique about your formulation, because I also think that's important. Like I said, I've used the product myself and gotten outstanding results from it, and I'll let you talk about it a little bit more.
So obviously our CBD is our, kind of our key ingredient, and how, we produce it and the high quality of it is essential. But, there's other synergistic ingredients that can be included that help the CBD either get to where it needs to go, or also, attack inflammation and pain through some other pathways. So that's kind of our key approach. And then, also understanding that, patient feedback, feel is important as well. So all of those are kind of important aspects of how we kind of formulated the product.
How do you get so much strength or intensity out of the product that you create?
That's a little bit of the great part of, the product is it was designed looking for certain compounds that weren't really found in other products, weren't really found in the CBD industry, and finding out how to use those together in conjunction so that they really kind of shine together.
Cool. Now I know you have some slides that you wanted to share with us too, just some informational slides, because we do want people to try to learn something today. I always try to make it a little conversational, but go ahead and bring up your slides, and we'll see what sort of information that you're going to be sharing with us today.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Just hit that share button and it should pop up here shortly. Are you seeing it? There you go.
There we
Perfect.
go.
I'll add it to the scene. There we go. Now we're cooking. You got to switch your screen so it's got your presentation up, though. You just see you and I basically in this funnel.
Sorry, trying to see how I can share that one screen with you guys. All right, that should be.
Let's try it again. There we go. Now we're cooking. There we go. Perfect.
Perfect.
We got it.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for that introduction, and thank you everyone for being here today. So what I really want to do today is kind of talk a little bit more. I think a lot of people have heard the term CBD, and I really want to kind of speak a little bit more about that to kind of break a little bit of the stigma down. I want to talk about how we kind of got to this point, because I think that's a really important part of the story. I want to talk about, right now, what practitioners, what patients are really doing to kind of fight some chronic pain things. Talk about how the CBD actually, if we dive down deep into it, how it actually helps fight chronic pain and inflammation. We'll next go on to a little bit about why quality matters, and kind of explaining that, not all CBD is created equally. And then kind of also give everyone a little bit of a of a kind of a toolkit to kind of understanding how to differentiate products and try to understand what actual quality CBD products, what it entails.
Right on. Let's do it.
So first, hemp versus cannabis. I think a lot of the stigma comes from people's perceptions of cannabis. The reality is that they are the same plant, but just with a completely different purpose. Back in 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act actually outlawed the production of hemp and cannabis. They kind of lumped them into the same pot because they are the same plant, but they're very different, and and it comes down to the chemical composition. So what we do also as in our breeding program is we are breeding the plants so that they are not allowed to create THC themselves, which is the psychoactive ingredient that is in cannabis. So we do this by selectively breeding out the THCA synthase, which is what creates the THC, the psychoactive chemical in the plant. This is done over generations. It's breeding. The analogy I like to use is brown eyes and blue eyes. We're breeding so that we only get blue-eyed children or we only get brown-eyed children. We do this over generations of plants so that the plants aren't able to express the gene which actually creates the THC. So what this allows is for that safety margin, which is with the genetics that we have, all of them are well below the federal regulation guideline of 0.3, which is a trace amount. What this does is it guarantees that there's no intoxication, no impairment, that it's safe for practitioners to use in adjustments and rehab, safe for patients to use in their own home setting as a topical application. And it's also trying to break down that stigma. While they are the same plant, if I showed you our field versus a cannabis plant, they might look identical, but these are specifically bred so that they do not have that psychoactive chemotype, that they're federally legal and fully traceable. So that's kind of a little bit of the separation between the two plants. Now, this all came to be, and the buzzword of CBD was driven by the 2018 Farm Bill. Now, this was kind of an undoing of that mistake that happened in 1937 of completely outlawing it. And there was two motivations for that. One was from an economic standpoint. Back in the day, hemp textiles, hemp fiber was a huge driver of an agricultural industry. But there also was another motive, which was a medicinal one. Back in 2014, they kind of allowed a little bit of clinical research to kind of be done on CBD and some of the non-psychoactive cannabinoids. Psychoactive cannabinoids, THC and the plant itself was labeled as a Schedule I drug, which meant that there was no medicinal purpose to it, which outlawed any research to be done. This was kind of backed down in 2014, and it opened the door for some clinical research to really show that CBD can have some great, profound benefits to patients. This included helping with chronic pain, spasticity, improving health. Very big in terms of helping epileptic patients cut back on seizures, also in terms of arthritis and inflammation. So this really opened the door to show that there is a way that these cannabinoids can be utilized in a helpful setting for patients. And that was one of the motivations for this, was removing hemp, separating the two plants. THC and cannabis are still a Schedule I drug, but what the 2018 Farm Bill allowed is accelerated research, which, there was a moratorium on research on, CBD for over 50 years. And also to unlock, a legal hemp, a CBD, a standardized clinical grade, this is on testing, THC limits, so that people can comfortably, go into their practitioner's office and feel like they're getting a product that they know can be used and is safe. Now, this is important because a lot of patients, a lot of Americans suffer from, kind of chronic pain. The CDC puts that number at over 50 million US adults suffer from chronic pain every year. It's breaking the cycle that is, a goal of yourself, Dr. Dieter, and a lot of practitioners is this pain cycle. It's a hard one to break, and practitioners need as many tools in their toolbox to help patients through that. A lot of patients prior to CBD, we're reliant on, NSAIDs, 30%, weekly use of Advil and over the counter ones. A lot of 21% fill prescriptions on a regular basis, and 10% receive an annual script for opioids. So there's a large dependence on what's been available to patients. And now that CBD is an option, there's more tools that might work better, might be more curtailed towards patients. There's a lot more to this pain cycle than just the chronic pain. It really becomes debilitating to people's livelihood, to their lives. If we know on this pain cycle, the psychological stress is an important one. That it does get overlooked sometimes. People can't feel like they can break out of this cycle. And also this can lead to, again, anxiety, depression, other complications that, pain is the source of it, but it does spiral into people's daily lives a lot further than that. Currently, like we mentioned, NSAIDs have been in major use for a lot over the years, but there are complications that come along with this. One that is very commonly known is that, with the GI risk. We can see in the chart here that depending on, multiple uses, high doses, whether you're on anticoagulants, that your GI bleeding risks can increase significantly. Even the CDC has kind of even mentioned that they're limiting the use of NSAIDs for older patients, which even restricts something that was available to them because of these risks. Now, with the benefit of using CBD, we have no renal toxicity. We don't have the GI risks that would come along with it. There are also a lot of other benefits. It gives another alternative to opioids, which there is a big dependency risk that has been, in everyone's mind for the last decade or so. Now, from our perspective, what we've seen and what the feedback that we've gotten from practitioners and our partners is that patients that use Orso Pro or CBD products end up actually cutting back on their NSAID use when using our topical product, which is, it's great to hear that feedback from clinicians. And also, it helps in your in providing adjustments to your patients. One of the benefits of the Orso Pro is we have the menthol, we have the Gaultheria methyl silicate in its natural form, which is the biofreeze. It gives you the instant feedback, which is an important aspect to the product. But what it also does is the CBD and the other ingredients in there work long lasting after your patient has left the room, which really helps them feel like it's improve the therapies that you guys are providing to your patients. I want to kind of talk a little bit about the endocannabinoid system itself. I think it's a very important one, something that's slightly been overlooked, but plays in a very important role in mostly the homeostasis of people's kind of well-being. So balancing pain, inflammation, mood, motor activity, thinking. As research continues to grow on the endocannabinoid system, more and more is coming out onto how the regulation of the system is really important with a lot of activity in our bodies. Specifically in regards to pain, the CB1 and CB2 receptors, which are the main receptors in the endocannabinoid system, control signaling. That's the nociception, your sense of pain, your inflammation response. Those are how it's really interacting with that pain cycle that we just mentioned. And a lot of Americans, naturally are deficient in the kind of the endogenous endocannabinoids or endocannabinoids that we have. And this can lead to other side effects. Migraines have been shown to be being deficient in endocannabinoids can increase your ability to get migraines, or people who suffer migraines can have a deficiency in endocannabinoids. Now, the great thing I love, which we'll talk more when I get a little bit more in depth on it, is that the CBD doesn't actually interact with the receptors itself. What CBD does is it regulates the breakdown of our natural endocannabinoids so that they can do their job. They're not actually going in and taking place of our endocannabinoids. They're letting our own endocannabinoids shine. So the main one here is anandamide, which ananda is Sanskrit for bliss. So it's actually called the bliss molecule. So that one is really important in the kind of the regulation, sense of pain, your sense of well-being. What CBD does is it just strengthens our body's own ability to kind of fight that cycle. So here we can see a little synapse where I want to just kind of talk about how CBD actually works and in conjunction with these endocannabinoids. So it's actually a retrograde signaler. So it travels back along the synapse to the presynaptic terminal. And this is where the anandamide actually comes back and binds to the CB1 receptors themselves. Now, what happens in the pain cycle or when an injury occurs is that this molecule is broken down by one of the hydrolases, which was the Fa hydrolase. There's also the MAGL hydrolase, which breaks down the 2AG endocannabinoid. So what CBD does, it comes in here and it inhibits this hydrolase from breaking down these two endocannabinoids. Now this has the ability to kind of allow our natural cannabinoids to bind longer to that CB1 site. And this kind of relaxes the kind of the neurotransmitters that are released up here on that CB1 site. So when you get that overfiring from an injury or an occurrence like that, that without the correct amount of endocannabinoids, your body's going to keep that firing cycle going. So by introducing CBD and inhibiting that hydrolase from actually breaking down our cannabinoids, we're allowing it to function a lot longer. Dr. Dieter kind of mentioned that, why Orso Pro works so well, and that's because we also include a lot of other botanical compounds that have novel compounds that actually help to benefit CBD by going after some other pathways. So arnica is one that we use. We're targeting in that one the sesquiterpene lactones. Now these ones go after the nuclear factor kappa B pathway, and so we're fighting the cytokines there. So a cytokine inhibitor on that side. We also use a boswellia oil, and those boswellic acids also help by blocking the leukotriene synthesis, which helps on immune response in response to an injury. Another one that we use, blue tansy, which is very high in chemazoline. Now this is another really potent cytokine inhibitor that functions similar to the one in arnica, but by targeting a different pathway. Also, another reason we include this is it actually has a very similar dipole moment to DMSO, which I'm sure all of you are aware is a very powerful penetrant enhancer. So this is kind of our natural version of it. What this allows it to do is it can shuttle some of the larger molecules, the boswellia, the CBD, which are on larger Dalton size, but below the Dalton limit, to get through the skin and kind of shuttle them across the skin barrier. You can kind of see here on the right-hand side, these are all the ingredients that make up Orso Pro, and we are looking for ingredients that follow our same ethos, which is very high quality, high standards, similar to how we had discussed about how we approach CBD. Now it kind of comes to my spiel about how not all CBD product is equal. Many people can go into their local pharmacies now, grocery stores, and can find CBD. And I think sometimes people lose sight of that. There's a lot of different standards that exist out there in a loosely regulated industry. I want to just kind of allude to kind of how a lot of the industry kind of functions. A vast amount of CBD is grown like you see here. This field is just chopped down and dried in the field. And what this does is it degrades a lot of the very delicate compounds that we at Orso have spent a lot of time to produce. And we lose those if you do that through allowing weather and sun to degrade it. I actually took a experiment last year where I cut a plant down that we would normally use for our own product and cut it in the field and left it dry there. So you can see, the brown coloring shows a lot of oxidation, shows a lot of degradation. And I'm a big believer. I'm putting this on my body, or I'm putting it in my body if it's an ingestible, and if it's something that is not treated the right way, it's not something I would want to give to my family or recommend to other people. So that just kind of shows you a little bit about it. Another important aspect of it is just because of the economies of scale and the cost of actually doing it the right way. A lot of these companies will take leaf stem stock when these plants are where it's the flower that only contains the part that we're actually interested in. So they'll take leaf stem stock, they'll grind through a giant combine and mill that all together to create this what is called biomass. The analogy I like to use here, it's going into an orange field, cutting down an orange tree, throwing it through a chopper and expecting orange juice to come out of the other side. Sure, you're going to get some, but that leads to a lot of other steps you're going to have to do to refine it. You're going to have to get the wood pulp out of there. You're going to have to get the leaves, the things you don't want. What this leads to is that a lot of these other large-scale CBD manufacturers have to go through a lot of other chemical refining processes to remove things, so remove mold that occurred from drying in the field if it got rained on, removing heavy metals if they're not doing the rigorous testing like we're doing, removing the fats and lipids that are present in the stalk and in the leaves. This more and more processes, we believe, takes you further and further away from the true essence of the plant, which is the reason that we're growing it in the first place. So a little bit about how we do this differently is, again, USD organic, rigorously tested by third parties. We have soil analysis done on an annual basis. We get our water tested 4 times a year, looking for heavy metals, looking for contamination, making sure that the soil is of the right composition so we can give all that energy into the plant. We further go and we extract from what we grew it for, which is the flower only. So these are our oranges in that orange juice analogy. Yeah, and you can see the color is very evident from this picture I took here of our flower. It's got all the color. It's got all those delicate compounds that we spent all that time and energy to grow.
Sure.
We preserved that prior to extraction because it's those delicate compounds that have an entourage effect that work in ways that are still being figured out in conjunction with the CBD that make it a more effective form of CBD.
Well, we have about a couple more minutes, Jordan. I want to make sure you kind of get through the majority. There's so much information here, man. I feel like we got to have you either do maybe people can have you in their districts to do presentations, or if this is like a patient information presentation right here that we could use in our offices and that kind of thing too. So we're definitely
I'll make sure to make this available to you, Dr. Dieter, and I've also got a lot of the sources that go along with it I can make as well.
Yeah.
Long and short of it is there is a standard for CBD. So it's important for everyone to understand that not all CBD is created equally. And the other important aspect of is looking at the label, just like you see on a nutritional label, is there's ways that other people can manipulate that to make them sound better than they are, right? Bigger number, better product. It's important to understand that it's dosing, it's full spectrum. There's a lot of other components of CBD oil that exist beyond just the CBD. You can see here on this left slide here that also work in conjunction. So it's not just a one catch-all. So, and also COAs. It's very important, like you mentioned, unregulated industry. You want to trust people that do it the right way, that have third-party analysis that backs up their claims, and that's all very important part of the process.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I know that you can tell us a little bit too about the offer that you guys created for our listeners too, because I think this is an offer you can't beat. And like I said, if there's anybody that wants to have Jordan or Orso out in their district to do an information presentation, or even if we needed to get CE credits for it, that might be something to try to do too. Tell us a little bit about the offer real quick.
Yeah, so anybody who's not currently a member can sign up for an account. We will send them a free sample bottle to their address when they sign up for the account. We're also doing a promotion if you purchase a starter kit as well. We will be also giving 2 free bottles. So a starter kit comes with 12 bottles in that retail display box. It comes with a 2-ounce treatment room bottle and a 1-ounce tester room bottle that we provide so patients in the waiting room can try the product on themselves. And then we will also throw in 2 extra retail bottles on top of that in as well.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I would love to see us try to submit this presentation for CE credits. And if we can get it approved for CE credits, then, getting you out into the districts and things of that nature that'll really help, I think, to create more awareness for your product and that kind of thing. Cause there's a lot to learn here, a lot more to unpack, so.
Yes.
But I wanted to try to give away some money today. We've got $500 to give away, and thank you so much for being on here, or try to give away $500. Can you stop sharing your screen for just
yes.
There you go. We'll bring up the wheel and let's try to spin 5 names, Tiffany, and see if anybody's here with us in the chat. It looks like there was some good feedback in the chat today too. So I think, like you said, if anybody wants to connect with Jordan more, let me know. I will definitely get you in touch with him, okay? All right. Sharice Cody, you are name number 1. You have 30 seconds to come and claim your prize. Yeah, I think there's definitely some more opportunity for learning here and collaboration, Jordan. We'll have to definitely I think Jordan's gone. Oh, there he is. He's back. Okay, good. I'm sorry. I thought I lost you. Yeah, I think there's definitely some more opportunity for learning and collaboration because, like I've talked to Charlie about so much, right? There's so many products out there. It's hard to even understand, what's a good product, what's not a good product, all of those kind of things, right? And one of the things that we didn't even get to talk a little bit about, or maybe we can do that here in one of the in the next moment or so, is dosage and just how important that is, and the intensity of the product and that kind of thing. So I didn't see Sharice reply in the chat, but I've been trying to do 2 things at once here. Usually they tell me if Sharice is here, if the person that won is here, but it looks like we're ready for name number 2. Timothy Quickendall. I'm glad I got that pronounced correctly. But it does sound like you could scan the QR code. Can you tell me, like in 30 seconds or so, just some thoughts on dosage?
Yes, I think dosage really comes down to is the product itself. So what I would say is isolate versus a full spectrum. So that is isolate is isolating it down to just the CBD molecule, which may have a higher amount just to get under the regulation limit, but it's the full spectrum, it's the minor cannabinoids, it's everything taken together that is really important to really get to where it's targeted to go to.
I see. Well, I haven't seen Timothy respond in the chat. We'll give him just another few seconds. It's usually on a little bit of a delay, like I was saying. I do have another question that I'm going to prompt you with, but I don't want you to answer until after we scan or after we spin. So, see, people are scanning your QR code, so people are liking the information that you're putting out, so that's good. But the question I'm going to ask you, you guys have a 1,200 milligram preparation, and I want to know more about that after we spin the 3rd name. So let's spin the 3rd name. Greg Olson. I don't think this is the tight end, the legendary tight end from the Carolina Panthers, but Greg Olson, you're name number 3. Let's see if you're here to win your money. But yeah, you've got 25 seconds to tell me about the 1,200 milligram preparation.
So the 1,200 milligrams is speaking specifically about the CBD molecule. So in terms of how much full spectrum CBD oil is in it, there's closer to about 1,900 milligrams. What this allows is, go ahead.
I was going to say, why does that amount matter? That's going to be quite the next question. Hold on, we'll wait between the next spin. I didn't see Greg Olson, but I always try to give it a little bit of time on the delay. man, there's so much more information. I need more time, Jordan. I need more time. We didn't have enough time yet, so we're gonna figure out how to get more information from you and that kind of thing. But I know Charlie's been telling me I need to come down to the farm. I love that you guys do farm visits too. I need to do a farm visit. That's what.
Yeah, you should definitely. We're finishing planting now, so we'd love to have you out when the plants get about in maybe about a month. They'll be about waist height, so that would be great to have you out.
Let's do name number 4. See if we can have a winner at name number 4. Rand Jackson. Maybe that's what we should do. As anybody that's on the broadcast or anybody that wants to come and join me for a farm visit, like let's go down to the farm one of these Friday afternoons and hang out next month. And that'll be part 2, live and in person on the farm. Maybe that'll be what we do next, Jordan. That sounds fun. But tell me, because people always say, well, is more milligrams better, right? Is more potency better?
We put 1,200 on there because we know that there's a lot of other people who use isolate, some other things. So just for specificity of the product, we call out exactly the CBD milligrams per bottle. But again, there is a lot more to the picture. It's just we're in a challenging market. You've got to pick a way to describe it to customers and to clients and to patients. And calling out the one molecule everyone is familiar with is kind of the cleanest way to do it. But there's a lot more that goes into it. Education is always the hardest aspect of this industry. Sure. And as you've seen here, you gotta bite off what you can chew at first.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are down to our final name that we're going to spin. Let's do name number 5. I didn't see Rand Jackson with us. Atlanta, Grace Lau. Grace Lau just said, Grace here would love to go to the farm. Grace just won the money, it looks like. I'm sure she's going to say I'm here because she just commented less than a second ago. So, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's the second time her and her husband have won, but they weren't here to collect the money. Grace wants to do a farm visit too. I see that. Well, it says Dr. David Basista, but Grace is the one behind David Basista's account. I can confirm that. That's awesome. Maybe Grace can, well, she already made some donations to the PAC. I don't know what I'm going to try to squeeze the money out of her that she just won. Maybe she can give a scholarship to a new practitioner. And if anybody out there, is interested in sponsoring new practitioners, I know a couple of new practitioners that would love to come to the fall conference with us and that kind of thing. So reach out to me. But awesome. We've got a winner today. Look at your good luck, Jordan. We did it. We gave away some money. So thank you so much for being on with us today. I really appreciate it. A lot more to learn. I'm going to try to set up that farm visit for have everybody come down. I think that's the next good step. So
I think that sounds great.
Cool. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. And we'll see you next week. We're going to reset the prize pool at 300, try to give away some more money. And until then, we'll see you.